This is a video using the principles of ACT therapy, ACT, and it's going to be a peer counseling session. So hi, how are you doing today?
Not so good. I guess I'm just one of my employees causes me a lot of distress. I guess I feel undermined by her. She's done a lot of things while she has been working for me as a part of my team for the last 3 years, and it makes me very uncomfortable to speak what needs to be said about the job.
So tell me a little bit about what's behind this. You said it's been going on the last few years? Give me a couple examples of what's been going on.
Well, she sent me a few nasty emails and texts about how I'm not a good manager, I don't know how to manage, I'm not professional, this, that, and the third. And then, sometimes when I ask her to do things, she says she's going to do it, and then she doesn't do it. And then I've seen how she talks with the other employees, and then she influences how they treat me also sometimes. So it makes me very anxious whenever I have to speak to her.
So what you're saying is you feel there's sort of a conflict between doing your job as manager and the way this person is treating you, one of your employees is treating you?
Yes, and in this conflict, I've been trying to learn how to manage, and unfortunately, what I've been doing up to this point is that I guess I've been avoiding engaging with her, because I guess I've also had anger. I feel like undermined, and sometimes I've wanted to fire her. That's at the same time, I care about her also as a human being.
So this has been going on now for 3 years, and how are you feeling about it right now as you're talking about it, bringing it into the room?
I guess I'm a little bit tired, because I've been trying to communicate with her. I've been trying to work with her. I guess I almost want to give up because this conflict is so hard.
And so as you're sitting here now, you're feeling like there's nothing you can really do, or is it just the various feelings are making you feel that way?
I guess after 3 years, I in some ways I've given up hope. My patience has been tested. In fact, if you look at me, I have a lot of gray hair, and she has been one of the reasons why my patience severely tested, and I think I've reached the end because I guess I've given up.
So, realizing that there's this conflict that you have to live with, and feeling like you have no real course of action, gives you this sense of just sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're feeling that now as we're talking about it.
Basically.
Okay, so let's just pay attention to that, and then just holding that, if it would be all right, I'd like to ask you a few questions about what's going on, okay?
Okay.
Good. So, you're a manager.
Yes.
And if you could talk a little bit about what that means to you as a manager, being a manager means.
I guess there's obviously, as a manager, I have responsibilities that I have to attend to, such as making my supervisor happy, making the client happy. But also at the same time, I guess unique to my position in some ways, because I'm a middle manager, I guess you can call it, I'm also advocating for my team in different domains. So I guess my responsibility as a manager entails both work performance and client satisfaction, and also advocacy for my staff, so that I can continue I can motivate them, hopefully, to stay motivated, such as maybe advocating for raises, benefits, team events, to build team chemistry so that they can continue to do the work job and get rewarded, and also make the manager and the client and the company happy.
So what is it for you that's most important about being a manager? What do you feel is important in order to be a good manager?
I guess as I am a very religious person, and I believe that I will be held accountable for my actions when I pass. I guess a sense of compassion towards my fellow human beings, such as my workers, because reflecting on my own condition and situation, I have a lot of things going on in my life which affect me as a student, as a worker, as a manager, as a partner. So I guess just having this understanding of concern for humanity and employees as human beings, not just strictly as just employees and just numbers on payroll.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's important to you to bring some type of compassion to your work for the people that you're supervising.
Yes.
Okay. What other aspect of being a manager is important to you besides that?
I guess I want to put out a good product for my company, because I guess I value their approval, and I also take a lot of pride in my work ethic. So I guess a sense of productivity makes it there.
So what you've been describing is sometimes you feel a conflict in those, and it somehow relates to this other employee. Could you talk a little bit about how those interrelate?
Well, like I said, because of this history that I have with her, and my fear of, I guess, what she will do or say, how she will interpret, I'm afraid to sometimes speak with her. And the fact she's undermined, I feel she's undermined me, by the emails and texts that I received from her, at least maybe like 10, or that I can count off the top of my head. And then I guess her sense of rebelliousness also sometimes. I see that she doesn't always do the job in the most efficient and productive way. But I guess my concern for her as a human being, and I guess makes it hard to really communicate what needs to be communicated as a manager.
So what you're saying is, tell me if I'm getting this right, you're feeling somewhat conflicted even in your values. I mean, first of all, you value treating employees with respect, even if they don't live up to your expectations. But then you also value employees who do respect you and do what they're expected to do.
Yes.
And in terms of the religious values, you're talking about, you feel that part of a good value is for you to be of service to your employees, but another important value is for them to be of service to the goal of your company, to the product of your company. So there's like services, like two sides of the same coin for you.
Yes.
And it's kind of a conflict here. And she's not helping.
No.
So we're talking about serving and being served. And I was wondering if you have any recollection of where else in your life that type of thing has happened to you.
Well, one of the things that I do as part of my commitment to my religious group is that I attend a regular Bible study weekly. And this past week, actually, we had a very intense emotional exchange between myself and another group member. And the thing at play was that none of us were comfortable expressing truth to one another. And what came out is that from my past, I was not comfortable expressing uncomfortable things. And what one of the group members shared with me is that I guess as long as we communicate truthfully with respect and I guess in a non-judgmental way, then we are serving the person. But we are not serving the person or myself if we are not speaking what needs to be said. We are actually just enabling potentially, I guess, bad behavior or whatever is the issue at hand.
So how is that like your relationship with this difficult employee?
I guess you could say that if we're using the same analogy, I could be actually serving her by communicating truth, by helping her grow as a person in her particular life challenges, and also serving the company. And if by me not communicating the truth of, again, about her work performance and our issues at hand, then in some direct or indirect way, I am enabling that behavior to continue, which could be, that is both detrimental to myself as an effective manager and also to herself as a worker and person.
So what you're actually doing is combining both sides of the coin by connecting them by being truthful. So you feel that being truthful is a good way to connect these two, and that's how you do it.
Yes.
Okay. I think that we've been talking about various things. One of the things we've been talking about is the type of manager that you are and want to be, continue to be. And we've also been talking about some of the obstacles that you feel you've had to overcome, things that are holding you back. So I would like us to try an exercise,
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind, that I think might help us, give us a little clarity. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you a bowl,
All right.
and so I'm going to give you some candies,
Great.
and I'm going to ask you to do something with me.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you to put into this bowl your fears, your fears,
Okay.
your thoughts that all these things we've been discussing, and also some of your goals. So as you name it, please just put one of the candies in the bowl.
All right. I guess I have anger, as we discussed. I feel I am being undermined. I have fear of what she will do, depending on how I speak. I feel threatened on the same long lines. Sensitive to the potential gender politics. I want to be a compassionate manager. And I guess along the same lines, I want to be a good manager that is loyal to both my company and to my staff. And I guess lastly, as we discussed about the fellowship, about my religious group, I want to learn how to communicate truth respectfully.
That's wonderful. Okay. Let's say we've got this bowl here
Okay.
with these different aspects.
Okay.
We've got a bowl and some different thoughts, feelings, goals in here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, which of these things is you?
I'm actually all of those things.
Are you all of those things? Okay, I'm going to hand this to you and let you hold this.
Okay.
Okay. Being all of those things, what would you say the bowl is?
I guess when you say it like that, I guess the bowl is myself. And there's all these things that could be added to it all the time with, the different challenges that I face daily, the good and the bad.
That's really beautiful, actually. It's really well said. And what I'd like to ask you is it possible to just reach in that bowl, knowing that you have these other things as part of you, and just pull out the ones you need at the time.
I guess you could say that.
For example, if you had to solve this problem with this employee,
Hmm.
knowing that you still have the fear, would you be able to reach in and pull out the honest communication?
I guess so.
Well, I think that it's something to think about. It's not anything.
I don't think it's going to be easy. It
I
hasn't been
don't
easy thus far.
Eh, does seeing it this way maybe help a little bit?
I guess maybe in this sense, reaching in could be also. I guess I'm looking at it from a spiritual level, where I'm also reaching out for
Okay.
that extra strength that may not be within me. As like I said, I've struggled for the past 3 years, so I guess maybe more supernatural intervention or strength from the outside. Does this kind of, is this what you're trying to say? Something to that effect?
Yes, but rather than supernatural, I'm wondering if some of the things in that ball
Mm-hmm.
came from your group.
Yes.
And if in that ball this honest communication
Mm-hmm.
also represents what your group has given you, which is a kind of a strength or a kind of an
Yes, like I
openness.
said, they've again this past Friday they taught me the concept of communicating truth in a respectful manner and the need to communicate truth. I guess for myself and the other member to grow. I guess for this context, it'd be our religious life, but in the work environment, it to be like, as I mentioned, in the work outcome, and also for her to set limits for her and for her to need to understand and respect those limits. Otherwise, um, this dynamic that is playing out with myself will continue to play out in her life in future work-related challenges.
So how can you then both serve her and have her serve your goals in the company?
I guess the best thing to do is, as uncomfortable as it may be, is to reach in and potentially, I guess, maybe try to have a sit down with her, and also maybe write down a contract of some kind of what is acceptable, what is unacceptable, and potentially the penalties that may arise when the contract is not respected.
Do you feel that if you go through this process, even though you may be feeling the fear
Mm-hmm.
of the retribution, the reprisals she may have on you,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel it's a possibility? Is it worth it to you, even in spite of the fear and the possible consequence, to make this contract with her? Is that really worth it to you?
I would say so, yes.
Okay, well, I think we've gotten somewhere today, and I look forward to talking with you in the future.
Okay. Have a good day.